I'm Anil Kumar sharing with you a challenge question on fractions. Half of the spinner was painted green, 1/3 of the remaining spinner was painted red, 1/4 of the remaining spinner was painted blue. Find the fraction of the spinner left for painting. So that is the question for you. So what we have in this case is a spinner. So let me just make a circle here, right? This is the circle which represents a spinner, and we are saying half of the spinner, that means let's say this is 1/2. Half of the spinner was painted green, so let's say this was painted green, right? 1/3 of the remaining spinner was painted red. 1/4 of the remaining spinner was painted blue. Find the fraction of spinner left for painting. So that is the question for you. I hope you have understood it. Now you can pause the video, answer the question. Now I'll have different approaches to answer this spinner question. So let's begin with this diagram itself. It says half of the spinner was painted green. That means half is left. It is not yet painted. Why am I saying that? Since the question is find the fraction of the spinner left for painting. So we are more interested in what is left. Okay. So half is left. Then 1/3 of the remaining spinner was painted blue. So that is to say, if I divide this into 3 equal parts, let us say like this, in that case 1/3 is painted blue. So let's say we paint this part as blue. Correct? So we are left with that much of portion, right? And now it says 1/4 of the remaining spinner was painted. 1/3 was painted red. I just colored it wrong. Let me make it red. Okay. Okay. So this is red for us. 1/3 spinner painted red. And now we'll look into the blue part, which is 1/4 of the remaining spinner was painted blue. So we get 2 equal parts. Let's divide them into halves, right? So 1/4. So we have 4 equal parts. So 1/4, let's paint them blue, right? Now the question is, find the fraction of spinner left for painting. So from this diagram, it seems to be this portion, right? So this is, we know it's half of the original. This is 1/3 of the original, but it seems very clear that the leftover is 1/4 is left for painting, right? So this is kind of approximation, but it looks like 1/4 is our answer. That's one way of doing or solving such questions. Now I'll show you a different approach which is more accurate. So what we are saying here is that half is painted green, right? So it means what? It means that half is left, right? It means half is painted. That means half is left. Is it okay? Now second part is 1/3 of the remaining spinner is painted red. So 1/3 of half, right? So it is 1/3 of half is red. Do you see that? That is what it is written. So 1/3 of half is red. Now, if I say 1/3 of half is red, then we are interested in what is left. 2/3 of half is left, right? So we have 2/3 of half is left, right? Because we painted 1/3. So we are left with 2/3 of half, which is, when you multiply them, you get 2/6, which is 1/3. Is that okay? So just multiply them. So we have 2/3 left. This is 2/3 of the whole thing, right? Now it says 1/4 of the remaining spinner was painted blue. So when you paint 1/4 of 1/3, then what really remains is 3/4. Do you understand? So you say 1/4, you say 1/4 of 1/3 remain, right? 1/3 painted blue, right? So what remains is 3/4. So 3/4 of means times 1/3 remains. So what is 3/4 times 1/3? It is equals to, so 1/4 remains. Do you understand? So that is how we can get our solution as 1/4. Correct? So we get the same answer. So these are two different approaches by which we can find the solution. Now this one is like very complicated. Let's have a very simple approach, and that I think is my final answer. So what we do here is we are working with numbers like 2, 3 and 4. So I will take a number which is kind of multiple of all these numbers. So we can start with number like divide the whole spinner into 24 parts. So let's say we have a spinner with 24 equal parts. Let me say equal parts, okay? 24 equal parts. And then let's start working with it. Half of the spinner is painted green. Half of 24 is? Half of 24 is 12. So 12 is green. Do you see that? Okay. 1/3 of remaining. So what remains is from 24, 12 are green. So 12 remain, right? 12 remain. Now it says 1/3 of remaining spinner is painted red. So 1/3 of 12 is red. Is that okay? And this is how much? 1/3 of 12 is 4. Is it okay? Right. So 1/3 of 12 is 4. What remains? If you take away 4, remains is 8, right? So out of 24 parts, 8 remains. Now it says 1/4 of the remaining spinner was painted blue. So 1/4 of 8 is blue. 1/4 of 8 is equal to 2 parts, right? So out of 24, 2 are blue. So out of 8 which remains, 2 were blue. So what remains is 6 remains. Now the question is, find the fraction of spinner left for painting. 6 remains out of 24. And therefore the answer is 6 over 24, which is 1/4. Do you see that? So sometimes you can start with the number, and if it is a common multiple, in that case it is easier to find the answer. I would like you to go through these methods of solving such questions, and I'm sure this will help you to answer similar questions in different circumstances. I'm Anil Kumar, and I hope it helps. Thank you, and all the best.